Let me ask you something real. If the enemy can't destroy you, do you know what he'll do instead? You see, he'll distract you, he'll deceive you, and slowly drain you. Not through obvious sin, but through subtle traps designed to pull you off purpose without you even noticing. So today, I want to expose the 3 traps that every believer must avoid. And make sure you watch to the end if you want to grow and actually win the spiritual fight you're in. Because the last one isn't just dangerous. It's the one the enemy uses against most believers. It's the one that I fell into without even realizing. And avoiding that one alone could protect your walk with Christ the entire year. So let's talk about it. I had just came back home from my very last deployment, and I was carrying things that I didn't even have the language for. And instead of dealing with it, I just pushed it down and just kept moving. You see, my relationship with God had started slipping away, but not in a dramatic way. It was in a quiet way. And I had stopped praying like I used to. I had stopped reading the word with hunger. You see, I wasn't drifting because I didn't love God. I was drifting because I was tired. And while I was slipping spiritually, I had started to look around at everyone else. Other people had peace. Other people had stability, joy. Their lives looked put together. And the more I looked at them, the more I felt like something was wrong with me. And then without even noticing, I pulled away. I pulled away from my wife. I pulled away from my kids. I pulled away from church. I didn't want anyone to see how broken I felt. I didn't want anyone to know the mental battles that I was losing. And it was one of the loneliest seasons of my life. And the enemy just kept whispering things to me like, "You're a failure. You're not enough. You're too damaged to come back from this right here." You see, that season almost took me out, but God met me right there in my mess. And slowly, piece by piece, he started rebuilding me. Not by fixing my circumstances, but by confronting the things that I tried to hide. So now let me share with you the 3 traps every believer must avoid and the scriptures that expose them, because the enemy exposed is the enemy defeated. Trap number 3, the trap of complacency. You see, this is when your faith becomes routine, predictable, and comfortable. You go to church, you pray when things get bad, you skim through the word when you feel guilty, but deep down inside, you know that you're not growing. You see, complacency is dangerous because it doesn't feel like sin, but it quietly separates you from your purpose. You see, Revelations 3:16 says, "Because you are lukewarm, I will spit you out." You see, lukewarm faith is faith without fire. So here's a question I want you to ask yourself. Have you started living saved, but stopped living surrendered? You see, complacency says, "I'm good enough," but God says, "I'm not done." And the enemy loves a believer who's comfortable, because comfort creates cracks, and cracks becomes openness. Trap number 2, the trap of comparison. You see, comparison is the silent killer of calling. You see, you look at someone else's progress, someone else's blessing, someone else's anointing, and suddenly you feel left behind. You stop celebrating what God is doing in you already because you're obsessed with what God is doing in somebody else. But Galatians 6:4 says it best. It says, "Pay careful attention to your own work," because comparison causes distraction, and distractions causes discouragement, and discouragement causes disobedience, and disobedience causes delay in your destiny. So ask yourself this question. Are you measuring your calling against somebody else's highlight reel? See, you can't run your race while staring into somebody else's lane. So here's the truth I had to learn the hard way. God would never anoint who you pretend to be. He will only bless the authentic version of you. And the number 1 trap, the trap of isolation. Now, this is the one that almost took me out. You see, isolation is when you start pulling away, not because you don't love God, but because you don't want anyone to see you hurting. You skip church, you avoid community, you disappear emotionally, even though physically you're still present. And the enemy loves a believer who isolates themselves, because isolation is where he whispers the loudest. You see, 1 Peter 5:8 says, "The devil is like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." Now, let me tell you something about lions. Lions don't attack the herd. They attack the isolated. So ask yourself this question. Are you hiding your struggles because you're afraid of being judged? God used people to heal people. That's why communities exist. That's why discipleship exists. That's why iron sharpens iron. But you can't be sharpened if you're staying hidden. You see, isolation feels like protection, but in all actuality, it's spiritual suffocation. So those are the three traps that every believer must avoid: complacency, comparison, and isolation. And if you're stuck in any of these right now, I want you to know this is not the end of your story. You see, God doesn't expose traps to shame you. He exposes them to free you. So I want you to add this to your prayer tonight. Say, Lord, ignite my fire, heal my identity, bring me out of isolation, and rebuild me from the inside out. Now, if this message spoke to you, drop a comment below and subscribe to the channel, because we're growing, healing, and rebuilding together. And before you go, grab a copy of my book, Never Broken: How God Rebuilds What Life Tried to Shatter. The link is in the description below. And always remember, you're not failing, you're learning how to fight. Y'all stay blessed.